Zocdoc is a free app where you can find amazing doctors and book appointments online. We're talking about booking appointments with thousands of top-rated, patient-reviewed doctors and specialists. You can filter specifically for ones who take your insurance, are located near you, and treat almost any condition you're searching for. Go to Zocdoc.com/BCC and download the Zocdoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/BCC. Zocdoc.com/BCC.
Welcome to the chain. Welcome to the BCC Club. We're your hosts. I'm Kendahl.
And I'm Sarah Shower. And today we are joined in studio by...
Hi, I'm Eli.
Yes. Actually, that rhymes. So that's perfect.
I just spent 5 minutes being like, I'm just making sure I'm pronouncing your name correctly, only to turn it over to you and be like, you go ahead and say it.
Honestly, it's better for me because a lot of times people pronounce my name Ellie. It happens a lot on podcasts. And as a kid, I was so non-confrontational. Oftentimes I would refuse to correct people.
Yeah.
And I really try in my adult life to not do that, but sometimes it's a force of habit. I just forget. I'm like, Ellie, oh, that's fine. That's my literal name.
That's right.
But it's actually not. So sometimes I like introducing myself because I'm like, okay, we can't get it wrong.
Yeah. Is it short for anything?
It is not.
Is that okay? I didn't know. Because I used to have Elliot. I'm never gonna have children, but I do have a list of baby names in my phone for if one falls on my doorstep.
You never know.
Or animals. But I always had Elliot on my baby girl's names.
Okay, wait, that's
list.
my number one.
Yeah.
I'll just share it here. I actually don't tell anyone that, but I don't really care because I know I'm gonna use it. So if literally everybody else listened to this and used it, I'd be like, Slay, we all have girl Elliot. I just think it's kind of fun.
It's
Elliot
so fun
as a girl.
for a girl. I think it's so fun.
I was going to say, I love more masculine names for girls.
Yeah.
I love a Logan.
Yeah.
Or a Billy.
I also like
So
Oliver
Eli is,
for a
perfect.
girl.
Oliver for a girl.
Oliver, yeah.
Oliver for a girl.
Yeah.
I love
Sweet.
that Elliot and Oliver, they're all like little boys from musicals.
Oh, yeah,
Wait, stop. It's actually that's so me.
Yeah.
To be watching musicals and then be like, that's such a good name.
Well, that's for years. I also said my number one girl's name was Adelaide, which is wild.
Which is literally insane.
From what musical?
Guys and Dolls.
Guys and Dolls,
Oh,
yeah.
Which, so we're going to London next week. And so we were picking out what show my girlfriend and I were picking out what shows we wanted to see. And we were like, we should go see Guys and Dolls. And then it said when we were reading the ticket, right before we bought it, it was like, you have to stand the whole time. And I was like, I can't
You're
do
you
that.
can't be doing that.
Yeah.
So what are you going to see?
We're going to see, it's like a classic London show. It's not a musical, it's a play. Oh my God.
Oh, it's the Mousetrap.
Yes. We're seeing, And then we're thinking about doing the ABBA,
the Mamma Mia party.
where it's CG. No,
Yeah.
CGI. Wow,
It's
I'm
like
saying
AI.
every
It's
word.
like AI.
It's not really.
It's an experience. It's an
yeah.
experience. I saw Mamma Mia when I was there, and I saw Cabaret, but Mamma Mia, I don't highly recommend.
That's what I saw when I was 8 when I went to London, but I don't remember anything about it.
I just feel like it doesn't really work as a stage show, which is such a hot take from me because I think everything works on the stage.
Yeah.
But it's it's better fit for a movie musical, honestly. Yeah.
Well, because I feel like the star of the show, of the movie, is it's the music's great, but also where they are,
yes.
the set.
Yeah.
That's the difficult part, and then also you need a lot of leads that are really good because no one person is truly the center.
Yeah.
And then somebody's always gonna outshine. It's just awkward. It doesn't work for me on a stage. Always the movie for me.
So your musical theater, is that your origin?
Kind of, yeah. I just grew up loving it so much.
Yeah.
And people are always like, oh, do you know so much about it because you studied it in college? And the answer is no, not really. I studied theater in college, playwriting, producing.
Yeah.
So I know a lot about how you could legitimately produce a show. And I know a lot about the background of it all and financially and whatever. I just as a kid spent hours upon hours watching YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And I was just so entranced by musical theater that my knowledge of it is I definitely know more about musical theater than anything else ever.
Wow, it's your full special
my
interest.
thing.
You're this is what I know.
Yes.
What's your favorite show?
It's a hard thing to choose, I feel.
Yeah.
I think it really like depends and changes, but I'm big into like classic golden age musical theater. I think it's special to look at things from like a modern lens when they're older and be like, you know, if we didn't have this, we wouldn't have Rent. If we didn't have Rent, we wouldn't have Hamilton. All of that. So honestly, I really like where we all started, but honestly everything. I'm just like obsessed.
There's some good new ones.
There's a lot of good new ones.
I think for a while I was like, oh, it's going to be just kind of like the Disney remakes where we're just me doing kind of like, oh, now we're doing Aladdin and now we're doing Spider-Man and now we're doing this and we're doing all. But I feel like they've had some, like I just saw 6.
Oh, it's fun.
Recently.
It's fun. Is it here?
No.
I don't. My one of my best friends is obsessed with musical theater, and so he always kind of just sends me a calendar invite and is like,
"That's such a fun friend to have. That's such a fun friend to have."
It's incredible. So I like always see shows, but have no idea. I think they're touring. If they're what's happening, like
some
I
of
don't
them
know.
have like set up shop here. There's like a Hamilton, LA. I feel like Dear Evan Hansen did that, and then there's a lot of tours, obviously.
Oh, it's incredible. We haven't even really introduced you yet. I'm sorry. I had to go. I had to ask all the questions about musical theater. You have a book coming out.
I do. I do.
So you went viral on TikTok. How long ago?
Gosh, like early 2020, May 2020, I would say.
Yeah.
I was one of those.
And it was about a jar.
Yeah.
About a gluten-free jar.
Yes.
And then you also talk a lot about dating on your TikTok as well.
It was kind of one of those things. This doesn't happen anymore on TikTok. Yeah. It happens in like a vacuum. So like we see like the Emily Maricos, the Pass That Puss, the Alex Earls that like shoot up overnight now. Yeah. But back in 2020, like people were going incredibly viral for random things all the time.
Yeah.
It was like very consistent. And a lot of TikTokers that you meet will be like, yeah, it was just pandemic things that I was up to. So I was doing that and messing around and having fun, and it was really just silly hobby. I was going to grad school. And then I just made a video right before I left for grad school being like, I'm going to grad school in the city. This jar thing is like number 1 expensive, number 2 like I don't have a family to feed with it anymore. I'm just gonna like take a step back from it, and I just want to let you guys know that now. So if like anyone wants to like get out, leave now, because it's not going to be the same. And I always just
funny. People were like, "No more jar, goodbye."
Yeah. What is the jar? Like, I'm sorry, I don't.
No,
you're so good. I've abandoned it a while ago, but it was basically like when I was growing up, we had this like large jar that we would fill with like kind of like a quasi trail mix snack mix, but like anything could go in it. It was like Cheerios, gummy bears, pretzels, popcorn, M&Ms, whatever. And it was just a nostalgic thing. So over the pandemic, my brothers and I were like messing around and redoing it, and it was gluten-free because I'm allergic to gluten, and it was just like this thing. And then it went viral, and we started to be like funny with it. So I would do like silly voiceovers or like comedy things.
Yeah.
And then I just realized like I kind of wanted to do lifestyle content, and I had like maybe like 90,000 followers when I posted that video, and it was really well received and no one really left. And that's when I realized like, okay, some people come for something, but they might stay for another reason. And then I'd always was so interested in relationships. That was like the thing that that kind of drove me throughout college. I was always writing about that kind of stuff. So I was like, that's what I want to talk about. Yeah. And then it kind of just happened.
Yeah.
As it does.
So tell us about your book.
Yes. So I knew I wanted to write a book since I was very, very young. I studied playwriting and creative writing in college, and then I got a degree in journalism because like practical. If I could go back, I would maybe not do that just because, I feel like I didn't need it, but I learned so much, honestly, and it just gave me another muscle that I'm able to flex now, especially with like podcasting. It's all journalism. Yeah. So I did that, and I was just trying to figure out, I was like, how am I going to get this like book deal? That's what I really want. And it's such like publishing is so kind of like things happen behind closed doors. There's not one path into it. And so I just had a job in journalism, and then my TikTok and Instagram presence were steadily growing. I started putting out a newsletter because I was like, I just know something's gonna stick. I just have to keep throwing like shit at the fan, and like something will stick. I just I just didn't feel like the journalism job was right. Also, I had like this terrible boss situation, ended up leaving, and I was like looking for another writing job, looking for a way in. And then my agents actually reached out to me, and they were like, we see your TikToks, we've read your writing on your blog, and we just want to meet you, and we think we have an idea for a book. And so at the time, I was making these lists of rules, like rules for a first date, rules for a second date. I just kind of described them as really tangible and accessible ways to elevate your lived experience and make life a little bit more fun and dynamic and interesting, especially when you're mid-20s, kind of in slump routine. And they were just doing really well received on TikTok. And my agents were like, we love this rules idea.
Yeah.
We know you're a writer. We know you do personal essay.
Right.
We think we should do personal essays off of these lists.
That's so fun.
And so I loved the idea. I was like, wow, this is crazy. I can't believe that this is like how this is happening. Yeah. And so we put together the proposal and then pitched out to editors. And then one thing led to the next. And now we're here. It's called I Didn't Know I Needed This.
That's so fun.
I was gonna say I love so we do like comedy and the writing. It's kind of crazy to see how social media has changed so many industries.
Yes.
And like how I don't know, that's probably not the traditional route of like if you wanted to write a book.
Yeah.
And so it's cool to see how, I mean, with comedy and then writing, like how social media truly changed the landscape of it all. Yeah.
It's so crazy, like with comedians and everything. Like that's the way comedians are being discovered now through TikTok. And it's a blessing and a curse because I always like want to make it known that there's so many ways to get into something. It's just that social media is really a free tool that you can use to your advantage.
Yeah.
And I had no real idea that I was using it well to my advantage. You know what I mean? I think that's the thing. Like looking back on it, and even with like marketing my book, HarperCollins and like their VP of sales and like some people really high up there have like presented on my book being like, this is the new way to market a book. And I was like, I just was having fun. And I think that's so much of it too, though. Like if it brings you joy and it's like content that I'm sure you guys feel this way, you think it's funny, so you're going to put it out there. And then other people are going to be like, yeah, that's funny.
Well, because you see all the time people try to really, like you could watch video after video after video of people being like, here's how to go viral on social media. And like, here's what to hashtag, here's what to say, here's how to like, when to post it, when to do it. And I've always, whenever people are like, do you think that's true? I'm like, I don't know if any of that's true, but I would not think about it for 2 seconds. Like I mean, like I know it's bad because some people are like, you should be looking at your analytics, but I'm like, I don't look at my analytics. I don't look at any of that because to me, I'm like, I just post. I mean, obviously I think I think some of my videos do better when I post it this time.
Yeah.
But I just am like, just make content that you think is funny, be consistent, make it and if you want to change or do something else, like do it. And I think that's what people like actually get attached to more than like, oh, I stick around because I think that's what's the hardest part is to get people to stick around. Yeah. And it's like if you have a video go mega viral because you posted it at 9 a.m., like that's great, but it's not gonna like stick, you know?
Yeah. A lot of people also are like, well, it's all about like posting several times a day and being consistent. And I'm like, that's definitely key. But if you're not making content that's either something that no one has ever done before, or you're doing it in a better or different way than other people have done it, or you get lucky, it doesn't matter if you post 20 times a day. Yeah. If you don't have one of those elements, like you're not going to be able to retain. And I think that it's all like subjective. It's like completely crazy.
Yeah. Consistency is important, but it's more important for the people who don't really have a perspective. Because they need to offer something, which is the consistency. But like you were saying, like if you have like a truly different perspective or you're going about something differently, then you can be a little bit more inconsistent. Yeah. And I say this as someone who's incredibly inconsistent.
You're like inconsistent. I love it. Yeah.
Have you ever been on the hunt for a new doctor? I know I have. Parts of my body tap out at the most inopportune times. But a doctor who actually gets you, listens to you, and actually looks at the rash and doesn't just, quote, trust you on it, And finally, after weeks of searching, you find the one. Maybe they're in walking distance or driving distance because you're kind of afraid of how your knees and ankles pop whenever you walk too far. So you call their office and they have an appointment available. Incredible. But then the receptionist tells you this perfect doctor doesn't take your insurance. Wipe your tears, put on some pants, get out of bed, and head over to Zocdoc to find and book the doctor who is right for you and takes your insurance. Zocdoc is a free app where you can find amazing doctors and book appointments online. We're talking about booking appointments with thousands of top-rated, patient-reviewed doctors and specialists. You can filter specifically for ones who take your insurance, are located near you, and treat almost any condition you're searching for. I've said it a million times. I trust Zocdoc with my life. My dentist, I found through Zocdoc. I have a follow-up appointment. Last time I saw her, she took out my bottom retainer because it's one of those ones that wrapped around your molars, and you can't actually remove it. And, it had been so long since it had been removed that there was some stuff beneath it. And so she just wants to check up on to see if how everything's going after the filling. Yeah, I needed to get a filling. I mean, that's what happens. But found her through Zocdoc. Love her. Adore her. Go to Zocdoc. Go to Zocdoc.com/BCC and download the Zocdoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/BCC. Zocdoc.com/BCC.
So I love the dating rules that you post. And I'm sure I was last night when I was like thinking about what to ask you, I was like, I feel embarrassed to talk about it because I know this was like you've been doing I'm sure everyone's been asking for like 2 years about these dating rules. And you're like, I get it. Okay, I made this dating rules video. But I just think they're so fun because they are so accessible to, I think sometimes dating rules are like, here's how you should be thinking about dating.
Or here's how to manipulate someone.
Here's how to manipulate someone.
Yes.
But here's how to like feel, here's how you should feel about yourself. And there are all these dating rules that it's like, well, yeah, if I could do all of that, dating wouldn't be hard. Like I am like, that's like so much work on myself to then put. Whereas your rules are like, have it, like one I love is like have it on a Thursday, which is like such a thing. You're like, well, I can just do that. Like I don't have to like work on myself to do that. I can just like, I'm making my date on a Thursday. I'm gonna do this specific thing. I'm gonna say this specific thing, and it's just so easy.
I think the thing about it for me really is a lot of the like rules and tips I was finding were like, okay, like in order to do this, you need to spend time, energy, money. You're going to end up feeling badly about yourself, or they would really only work if you were like the perfect societal Barbie doll. I was just feeling like that's so ridiculous because at the end of the day for me, like I always think about like, okay, we're on a floating rock, right? Like everything and nothing matters. This is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to bring you joy. You're not supposed to hate your life. You're not supposed to cry in the bathroom. You're not supposed to be dying of nerves. Of course you should be a little bit of nervous, like energy. That means you care. But for me, I was like, we aren't having fun anymore. Like we're making people feel like shit about themselves. And then we are going into dates thinking, especially when it's like male, female, does he like me? Did he think I was hot? Did I do a good job? And it's like, did you do a good job, babe? Did he make you laugh? Did you enjoy yourself?
That's what I've always, because whenever I talk to my straight friends or just like any friend who's dating a man at the time, I'm always like, wow, there are like, you are backflipping through this entire, or like it'll be like, it's date number 7, which I'm like, wow, I've already like moved in with my girlfriend on my 7th.
The wall's here. We got a dog.
Exactly.
We're in love.
It's date 7. I want to say this in the text because like I don't want him to think I like care, but I'm like, that's insane. And I remember telling my friend, I was like, I feel like we've gotten into like this really. The other day I was telling her this because she was dating this guy who's like an asshole, and I was like, I think we have such a like attachment styles, like if you're anxious or avoidant. And I was like, I think we're in it's such a hard thing to break, but it's like those two people always date each other. And so people who are a little more like, not even anxious, but ready to be in a relationship, who really want to be in a relationship, they're constantly trying to like make themselves smaller or be like, I'm going to act avoidant. I'm going to act like I don't care. I'm going to act whatever. And then they get into these relationships with people who think that's what they're like. And then so you have, I'm explaining this so badly, but you have like
you're doing a good job. You're doing a good job.
You have like anxious people who are trying to act like, who feel like losers all the time and are trying to act cool. But then on the other side of it, you now have like avoidant people, or even if they're not avoidant, maybe they just don't want to be in a relationship right now, or they're like not really relationship people. I have friends like that too who are constantly like, I'm such a piece of shit. I'm such a piece of shit. Oh, and I'm like, you're not a piece of shit. You're just like, don't want to date someone. Like, stop.
And that's okay.
And those two people are just constantly like making each other hate themselves. And I'm like, just be like, I always am like, on a first date, you should be like, I want a serious relationship. Or people are like, oh, that's too crazy. I'm like, but why? Because if then you're just like communicating
it out. You're
not saying with you. You're just saying I want. That's what I'm looking for.
I think we've overcomplicated things so much. Like. At the end of the day, if you're on a date with someone and you're looking to be in a relationship, you don't want something casual, and you tell someone, or let's just say you're a little bit further down the line, like to give your example about overthinking the text. Let's say you haven't heard from someone that you've been seeing in like a few hours and you want to text them and you're freaking out and nervous about it. You have to remind yourself that if somebody that you're dating gets a text from you and they change their mind about how they feel about you because you texted them, that's sociopathic behavior. That's not someone you want to be with. Nobody who deserves you, who deserves your company, your time, who respects you, is going to look at a text from you and go, what a crazy person. This is insane. They're going to say, oh my God, so good to hear from that person that I like and I want to hear from. I feel like we've overcomplicated things so much, and we make ourselves crazy. And like you said, like we're backflipping through it all when realistically, if you want a relationship, the right person is going to get that text from you, like asking for clarity and give you clarity and make you feel comfortable, and you're going to be happy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're just going to weed out the wrong ones, and that's what you want anyways. You don't want to be with
100%.
them.
Exactly. You said that your advice is like fun. What are your like pillars like of like the advice you always return to?
Yeah, I think I always say be intentionally selfish and selfishly intentional. And the reason I say that is because for so long, I made every decision based on what other people might want me to do or what they might think of me as or how they might perceive me. Not even, like, I didn't even know if that's what they wanted or if they actually perceived me that way.
Yeah.
And once I freed myself from that, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm making decisions for me, like my one lived experience based on like what a guy might think or what my friend might want or what my family might say. Like, what if I just freed myself from that? And I think when you're being intentionally selfish, you're actually being selfless.
Yeah.
Because that level of self-care becomes community care, right? Because the people around you are going to benefit when you are choosing for you and when you're happy. And so that was like something that when I started to like make these lists, I was like, that really freaked me because I was no longer going on dates, sitting there being like, does he like my outfit that I chose because I think he might like it? And like, what do I order? I was just like, I'm going to wear this outfit that I feel good in, that I want to wear. And when I'm on the date, I'm going to consistently be sitting there like, am I having a good time? Is this person making me laugh? Are they making me feel good?
Yeah.
Did they say something weird that I'm like, what the fuck? Like, and then I'm going to leave the date and I'm not going to go home with them because I don't want to. And if I did want to, I would. Yeah. And I'm going to choose everything for me. And then when you end that date and you're like getting ready for the next one, you feel so good.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
And then that person actually falls for you.
Yeah.
And it's not some convoluted thing. And like, then you just know you're worth so much more. Right. It's like a simple thing, but when you actually put it into practice, I feel like it like can transform a lot of things about your life, maybe even friendship or whatever else.
Yeah, this is like a separate, and I'm so sorry, everyone. So I have like a problem with like alcohol. And so I was 9 months sober officially like on the 1st.
Congratulations.
And so I was like giving people advice who are like in love with alcoholics, and there's like a program called like Al-Anon, and it's like for codependency, and a lot of people could not wrap their mind around. I was like, if you're in love with someone who's an alcoholic or damaging, the best thing you can do is work on yourself. You know? And so like you just said, like, and a lot of people didn't understand how that would help people around them.
Yeah.
But when you're truly like investing in yourself and being like intentionally selfish, like, and you're like, I don't have to take care of this person, then other people see that, and that that radiates throughout your friend groups. I didn't mean for it to go in that direction, but
that
it
makes so much
true.
sense.
Like it applies to like helping yourself truly does help the people around you.
Or even think about if you were like ignoring the things you wanted, or like just ignoring self-care, not taking care of yourself and making every decision based on what other people might say or think or whatever. And then imagine you're going out to dinner with a group of girlfriends. The whole entire time you're going to be like, oh my God, I feel so weird. Like, fuck this. Like, what are they thinking? Blah, blah. Like, oh my God. And naturally, those people aren't going to have as good of a time with you.
Yeah.
Not because you're anxious. We're all a little anxious and we're all a little fucked up and we all go through things. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that overthinking is going to come off versus when you really work on yourself, you take that time, you're treating yourself, you like yourself, you go out to dinner with your friends, you're going to be like freed from all of that. You're just going to have fun and they're going to have a better, like we're all going to have a better time.
Yeah.
I think that's like self-care is community care thing I love because I'm like, it's so true.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's so true. Do you, okay, I have to know. I saw that you love astrology.
Love.
You do like astrology?
Love,
okay.
love.
What are your star sign? What's your star sign?
I'm a Cancer sun and a Cancer moon. And then I have a Sag rising and a Cancer Venus and Mars. So a lot of Cancer.
So you're very emotional.
Wait, what about you guys? Yes.
Okay, well, you go first.
I'm a Libra sun, Libra rising, and a Gemini moon.
Oh my gosh, air sign
All
queen.
air. And then everything else is like Scorpio or Libra.
That's really fun.
I am flimsy.
I like it.
Flimsy? What does that mean?
It's
I'm
maybe like
superficial a little bit. No, but I love
indecisive, a little indecisive.
Yeah, but I think I'm pretty agreeable.
That's very Libra, right?
Yes.
Yes, harmonious, balance, peace.
The scales.
The scales.
Yeah, the scales.
I'm Leo sun.
Fun.
I'm a Scorpio rising.
Do you like that song, Scorpio Rising by Soccer Mommy?
I've never heard that.
Oh my God, you're like the only Scorpio Rising I've ever met that's like, I've never heard of that. So now you have to go listen.
I feel like I have not come into my Scorpio rising yet.
Okay.
And I think it's on the horizon, but I feel like I'm
I like
not
that.
like I don't even think of myself as a Scorpio, so like I don't think about my Scorpio rising a lot.
Yeah.
And then I'm a Taurus moon, which I really connect with my
I
Taurus
love that
moon.
homebody.
Yeah. I think that's the one I'm like, oh, like I would feel more like a Taurus.
Yeah.
Although I do feel like Leo is very much a self-fulfilling prophecy, if that's the right term to use.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like Leo, people weren't as into astrology when I was a kid, obviously.
Yeah.
Like people didn't talk about it in school or anything. But Leo was one people would be like, oh, a Leo, you're a little performer, aren't you?
Okay, but it checks out. You're like, yes.
And I was like in theater and I was like, oh my God, I am. So I feel like that one. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I feel like a Leo, but I'm also like, I feel like it's because was like really talked about as a kid.
It's also like people give Leos a bad rep, but it's not as much that they think of themselves as the sun. Like they are the sun. Other people, like that is like the sun and Leo are like this. Like when Leos walk into a room, people naturally give them attention. It has nothing really even to do with like they're like posturing as like a Leo or like being overconfident or cocky. It's more so just like what they give off.
Yeah. So what star sign like would you be like you should date? Like what do you think you should?
I was talking about this recently with compatibility. People have this like kind of warped idea of it, right? That like, okay, does a Cancer mix with a Sagittarius or whatever? Sure. And for me, it's like, if you want to look at compatibility, you have to read 2 whole entire charts, right? Because that's really how astrology is so nuanced, right? Yeah. And like, there are different houses that people have and different things come off in different ways in different people. And if you really want to get to the bottom of like, are we compatible? You need to read 2 different charts. Yeah. But then I think that a good like astrologer, someone who's like reading 2 charts is going to not be like, you're not compatible, because I just feel like they wouldn't say that. I think instead they would be like, here are ways that you guys are super compatible. Here are things that are going to come easy to you two as a team. And here are things that are going to be more difficult. Here are challenges that are going to arise. Maybe you guys should work on XYZ thing. I feel like, of course, there are charts out there that if you put them side by side, it's like, wow, this is harmonious. And then there are probably some that are like, wow, this is, a lot of tension. But I feel like at the end of the day, a good astrologer would be able to tell you how it would be able to work out.
Yeah, because my girlfriend is a triple Aries.
Oh my gosh. Wow, that's such amazing, crazy energy.
They're like that. Like they are like, I feel like you can tell they're
like
Aries.
a little chaotic.
They're not chaotic. But they are like, they have no problem with confrontation.
They have a very strong personality.
That's kind of nice.
And it's great for me because like if someone like cuts us at a Costco, they're like, excuse me? And I'm like,
you're like, I'm hiding.
And I'm like apologizing to the person. And I'm like, sorry that I didn't let you cut me sooner. Like, I'm like, so it's like pushed me. And they're very much like, if I'm ranting about someone and I'm like, they said this, they're like, they can't talk to you that way. You need to call them
right now.
Say you can't. And to them, like,
Ghost
they
them,
would.
block them. Yeah.
And I like, but I'll hear people be like, Leo and triple Aries, like, you guys must butt heads all the time. And I'm always like, it's interesting because I think we did. It's butt heads is wrong because we're not like an arguey like couple, but like, when we first started dating, we're both just people who say every emotion we feel as it happens. So like even when we first started, I feel like some people are like, oh, the first couple months no one argues because you're just like letting everything, you have like rose-colored glasses on it. But we were never like that. Like if they said something that even kind of made me be like, oh, I don't like that. We're both the type of people who'd be like, I don't like that you said that. Yeah. So I think in the beginning we like butted heads more. But now we're like, we always like 3 years in, it feels like we don't argue at all because we just say, we like know each other now so well, like what makes each other annoyed or what we don't like. And we were very good at like just communicating it as we go. Yeah. So I feel like sometimes I'm like, I think an Aries and a Leo who maybe like didn't have good communication skills could like really argue all the time, but we don't have that.
Gonna say, like, backpedaling a little bit to your point where like a good astrologer would not say that you two are like compatible or not unless it's like super obvious. It's like a good therapist. Yeah. Where a therapist is like, this will, if you work at it, this will help you. Yes. But like if a therapist said to me, this advice will cure you, I would be like,
that's weird.
I feel
exactly.
weird.
Exactly.
So it's more like a guiding sort of thing. But
yeah.
And I think to your point about your girlfriend is a very strong personality, which I enjoy. I love polarizing people. And like, I mean,
so do I. So do I.
And so I think where like you guys, I mean, I fought with my partner even in the beginling. Yeah. It's not a toxic sort of insecurity fight. It's just a strong perspective.
Well, because even like we've had before, like friends we're close with. We're not like in front of people we've just met. Yeah. Like if we have a close friend over and Jordan, like we'll disagree with each other.
Yeah,
like
in front of people.
In front of people.
Oh, totally.
Not about, but like you said, it's not like about personal, private relationship stuff. But I think people are surprised if like they say something about a TV show they like or something, and they're like, I thought this part was this. And I'm like, oh, really? I didn't think that part was that. I thought it was this. I think it's like whatever. And people are like, oh, they're arguing. And we always laugh because we're like, we just love like, sorry, I hit the mic.
Yeah.
We just love, what's it called? Debating.
Yeah.
We love to like debate with one another and be like, oh no, I thought of it this way. But I think some people can be like, that's too much.
Yeah,
you know
some
what I
people
mean?
just don't like that. But I feel like at the end of the day, you know, it always really scares me when people are like, me and my partner have never been in an argument ever. And I'm like, okay, good for you. But like, what's happening then?
Yeah.
Somebody is burying something, or
Yeah.
you both are. My boyfriend and I have never been in a screaming fight. We've never been in a screaming match. We've never slammed doors on each other. We don't fight like that.
Right.
I'm not saying it's bad if you do. We never have. We've had disagreements and conversations that are challenging and arguments. Maybe one of us has raised their voice a little. But at the end of the day, like if we didn't have that, what would that say about you? There's no way you can agree with everything that comes out of somebody's mouth, especially as it relates to your own emotion.
Yeah.
So I feel like it makes sense if you're getting in disagreements and arguments, if you disagree on topics.
Like, that's what we were saying the other day. We were like, it is nice because then when we're not arguing, it makes it sound like we're arguing. Like we're even like the little slivers that we're not arguing.
A few times a day.
A few times a day. But like, it's like when we aren't, the most of the time when we're not arguing, we're like, it is nice because there's literally nothing that I have. Like I feel zero frustration, annoyance, anger, anything because there's nothing there to be. Nothing's built up in any way.
Yes, when you get comfortable with someone as well, it's like I have no problem saying anything to my boyfriend, and I know he feels the same way about me. And a lot of people are like, what's your advice for like moving in with a partner? And I'm like, for me, now looking back on it, if I were to do it again with a different person in the future, I would just need to make sure I was at that comfort level where I could say anything.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't feel comfortable saying anything to this person and he didn't feel comfortable saying anything to me, like, I don't know if it would work. And I think sometimes people think that moving in together, I think a lot of people think that it's something that should be done for convenience, for money, or we sleep over every night, like we should just do it.
Yeah.
And I think it's like actually so much larger than that, where it's like you're inhabiting a space with someone. You're almost always together. Your alone time in some ways becomes alone, like the former alone time that you had all the time, in some ways becomes time spent with them, or time that you're both alone, but you aren't, it's still in the same space. I think it's just important to get on that level with someone where you could say anything or disagree. Otherwise, it's like someone is burying things.
Yeah, because that's like when I moved in with my partner, they love Halloween year round. They're a big Halloween year round person.
Yeah.
So when we moved in, they're pulling out, they're like, here's my bookend. And it was like Freddy Krueger, is that who it is?
Oh, probably, yeah.
It was like scary. It was scary.
It's like scary. He was like hiding behind a hedge with a knife, and I was like, "That's the book." I like had like a flowery little. I was like, "Oh, okay," but I feel like it's nice now. Well, that was when we first moved in together, but now years later, I feel like I can make that will not be
That's not happening
up in
for
our
us.
house. Just
yeah,
saying.
yeah, that's not happening. Yeah.
I feel bad. I always tell them they're always like, oh, I'll put it next to my bedside. If it's something really scary, they're like, I'll put it on my bedside table.
And you're like,
Because
I
I'm like,
still
that's
see
your
it.
space. But then their poor bedside table. The other day I was like, let's get you more of a shelf in the house because your bedside table is now just
Like, honey,
it's so filled.
it's
sad.
frightening in a way.
I was gonna say, like, when someone, this is like for me, have you noticed this? When someone is holding something in, resentment usually builds.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can tell that immediately when they have a weird sense of urgency. Around a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that's when I know that if they ask you to do something, you don't do it right away.
Oh, yeah,
That's that urgency, or like when it's like something trivial.
Yeah.
Like, I understand if it's like 8 a.m., their Vyvanse just kicked in. Yeah, pick it up.
Yeah.
But like the weird chunks of urgency indicates to me that there's resent building.
Yeah.
And well, that sound weird saying come out of my mouth.
Resentment.
Resentment, yeah.
Resentment building.
So yeah, that's when I'd be like, "What's up?" But
Yeah.
I did actually want to circle back to the book, just because I have a question about it. Just because what was if you told someone about your book and they were like, "Tell me about it," what would be your favorite part that you could read to them, or like that you feel like encapsulates the messages you were trying to get across?
That's a really good question.
Also, sorry for changing the subject, if I did.
No.
But yeah, sorry.
That's a really good question. So it's 14 personal essays. It takes
Yeah.
you through a life cycle of a relationship from like being single to being single again.
Yeah.
So each essay has like a different stage, but they're all about like using your voice and using your choice and centering yourself as you go through relationships in your life. I would say the last one is my favorite. It's definitely, they say kill your darlings when you write. I'm pretty sure that was like an Ernest Hemingway quote or something.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot cut out because I write long. And the last chapter was one that I felt like everybody was we were on the same page about most of it. But of course,
Yeah.
I have editors. I have a team that's like giving me criticism and analysis and whatever. I feel like the last chapter, once I wrote it and it was out there and it was on the page, we were all like, this is the last chapter. It felt like a really beautiful kind of like stamp to the end, and it's definitely my favorite one. It's very special to me. Like the last few pages are very special to me. So I would say that one. But honestly, there's so many parts that I would love to like read with people or talk about with people. I love writing about my friends. I've had like some feedback that those are some of the best parts, which is interesting because there's like definitely more about dating than my friends. And I think in the future books that I'm going to write, they're going to focus less on dating. This is the dating book that's coming out of this moment in time. And I look forward to being able to like explore that friendship stuff more, but I really did like writing about them as well.
Friendships are so fascinating because I feel like there's not as much like discussion about friendships, but there's such a like I saw this video the other day on TikTok that I've just been thinking a lot about, where they were talking about how like in today's day and age adult friendships have become very hard because it's kind of just become friendship is just like catching up. And like when you're a child, you're so close with people because you're doing a lot of play and a lot of like, oh, we're bored and we don't know what to do, so we're gonna do this thing, or we're gonna like invent a secret language, or we're gonna do whatever. And when you're an adult, which I was like, oh, this is so true for me, I feel like I have like 15 people I'm constantly like, who I love very much, but I'm like, we got to meet up this month because I have to hear about XYZ. And then when you're done explaining that, I'm gonna ask my questions and then I'm gonna explain about XYZ, what I've been through, and then great, we've checked in, goodbye. And like it was just talking about how it's so beneficial to have like time with your friends where you're just like, which I always find with my roommates, because you're just with them all the time. You like, you go to the grocery store and we go here and we're doing things where we're not like catching up. So you have more time to like get creative and mess around and do fun things. And I was just like, oh, I want to bring that to more of my friendships.
It's such an interesting thing. I love that point. I really feel like it's never made sense to me that we view relationships as these things that are not infinite. They might end and we have to water them and put so much time and energy. We have to go on dates. We have to, develop trust and communication and boundaries. And we have to talk about all of these different things. And we have to give this person enough time. And are we texting them to check in and all these things? We don't look at our friendships like that. It's almost like we're raised with this idea that they'll always be infinite. They're not going to end. People aren't going to change in the same way that they do in a romantic relationship and cause an ending. And it always just drove me insane because I was like, we are not treating our friendships like we treat our romantic relationships, and we need to be doing more of that. Like almost we need to be switching it, because our romantic relationships we put so much pressure on. We overhype the early stages way too much. And then our friendships kind of just take this weird back burner, especially in adult life. And I think part of it also comes with like, I'm 25 and I know people who are engaged. I know people who are getting married. I know people who are moving in with their partners. I know people who are single who never want kids. I know people who are freelancing, who are just getting started with their careers. I know people who are moving up in their careers and like I know people in like every phase. And it makes it really hard. And like, that wasn't something that I felt like we prepared, especially college-aged people for enough.
No, exactly. I just blanked.
It's okay.
No, but you're right. I I was like a military brat, so I moved like every 2 years. So unfortunately, I do have this thought on like friendships that they are going to come to an end. But that's like something I need to unlearn in therapy, like that I'm not moving constantly and that the internet and phone exists. It's crazy to think about. But yeah, I feel like the people work so hard, and this is me as well. I work so hard in therapy on how to like perfect or their intimate relationships, but when it comes to friendships, like we kind of slack a little bit. Like and I don't want to speak ill of the straight people listening, but like when I have a friend who maybe has like a crappy guy partner, she'll give him so much grace or like so much understanding. If I mess up with her, it's like You know.
Yes.
You
This is
understand.
definitely patriarchy,
Yeah.
right? Like, this is 100% patriarchy. It's all who holds the power. Like, it's such bullshit. It's not even like those straight women's total fault, but
Yeah.
it's like a behavior that we can unlearn.
Yeah.
It's like actually nuts. And I always I think about this too with family members.
Yeah.
We let a lot of stuff go with family members because we're like, we're related to them. But oh my God, if a friend did that to you, you would be like, I'm never talking to
do
you
that.
again.
Yes,
Or you would
yeah.
set a boundary, you would have a conversation. It's so interesting that all these like friendships, family, and then romantic relationships, and even our relationship to ourselves, we just view them all so differently and give them different levels of like care and attention.
Yeah.
It's always crazy to me. Like, I've really been thinking about that kind of stuff so
Yeah.
much, but you're totally right. It's like you'll see that friend giving this male partner so
Yeah.
much grace when he does terrible things.
Yeah.
And we know why she's doing it, but that doesn't make it okay. And
Yeah.
it's like this thing that like really needs to be unlearned. And we really, especially female friendships and like femme friendships, I feel
Yeah.
like need to be prioritized so much more.
Because too, I think like sometimes with like that type of a straight man who's being like so
guy,
terrible.
yeah.
Because obviously
Yeah.
there's like good straight men, but whatever.
Yeah.
I know. Why do I always become an apologist? I'm always like,
Don't apologize.
This is not as if a single straight man listens to this podcast.
As if they're gonna come up in arms. Like,
Yeah.
they're good.
But like, so I think sometimes bad straight men, and then also like family members can fall under this umbrella where it's like there's so much wrong that it like you can't be as hard on them, because it's like with my girlfriend, I can be more not nitpicky in a bad way, but I can be like, you spoke to me this way and it just kind of made me feel this way, blah, blah, blah. Whereas like I was watching Love is Blind the other day. This guy is like 29. He's like a full-time something. He has a job, he has money, whatever. He's engaged to, do you watch Love is Blind?
I don't, but I know the
It's
vibes.
insane.
Yeah.
She comes in and he has like plastic. He doesn't have plates or cups. He has plastic plates and then he has red Solo cups for his silverware. Like he doesn't have
no.
any
It's
silverware.
not happening.
And she was like, "This is crazy." Like she wasn't mad, but she was like, "This is crazy.
This is
like
insane.
this is very
You're
immature
30.
and like insane. You're almost 30. Like this is nuts." And he kind of was like, "You're judging me." And I'm like, "Yeah, if you're first of all, that says so many things. It's like, first of all, that's like bad for the environment. Like, why do you? It shows like you're lazy. Like
Yeah.
you literally are just too lazy to clean your
No, it's
dishes.
it's giving embarrassing.
It's like college. I'm like, you're like in a
Yeah.
frat. Like that is
Yes.
insane. There's only one of you who can't wash the dishes. It's like nuts. And she was like, and anyways, I'm just like, if you're starting at that, like there's so much weaponized incompetence in
Yep.
men, but I think
Yep.
sometimes family members too, where it's like, well, like I'm really lucky. I feel like my mom is great with emotions, but like I have some friends who are like, well, you can't really say anything to my mom because she'll start like screaming and crying.
It's like, all right.
It's like, okay. So if like we're starting with that, like the
where
amount
are
I
we
can
gonna go?
accept from you is like I'm already having to bend so much to you. Like if
Yes.
you can't even get plates, how can I complain to you about like this thing with like a friend who I've chosen?
Yeah.
I can be like, well, you're aware. So I'm just like, stop dating men who are incompetent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's this crazy thing too. I was recently talking about this with someone where I feel like men in their 20s fit into like two buckets, straight men, cis
Yes.
men.
Yeah.
The first one is like they can't get over the frat boy days and it's like that guy.
Yeah.
And the second one is like hustle, Wolf of Wall Street, need to get to the next thing, need to get to the next thing. And then there are like the normal ones in the middle that feel probably shitty about themselves.
Yeah.
And again, this is like definitely a thing of the patriarchy.
Yeah.
Like that's affecting them in ways that they won't even like believe or understand or like agree that it's happening to them.
Yeah.
But the nice ones in the middle, they have nowhere to go. If they don't want to be this dude and they don't want to be this dude and both these dudes are on polar ends and they both suck and it's like the middle, it's like what do they do? I feel like there's like so many ways women get fit into boxes and it's like much more pervasive and like much more legitimate than that. But that's happening too in your 20s. It's like so crazy. And like that's a perfect example. Like that guy's a perfect example.
Because
It's like
he's
what the
nice.
fuck?
Like he was nice. But it's just like
What are you
that's
doing?
unacceptable.
No, it's
Like,
unacceptable.
You are 30,
What are you
like,
doing? What are
why
you
do you
doing?
have red Solo cups as cups? And then she was like, so when you have like girls over and you make them dinner, what do you do? And
Or,
he's
like, wine?
I serve them in this, and they were like, and he goes, and they don't care. And I was like, yes,
They care.
they do.
They
And
went
I'm
home to
like,
their friend and they were like, yeah,
had
it was
red
really
Solo.
fucking weird. He poured me wine in a red Solo cup and he's 30 years old.
Yeah.
because it's like and I think like you see this so much with like I always think about my dad had some weaponized incompetence happening, and he like was very much like when it came to like Christmas presents, it's just like, what do I buy my what does a
Yeah.
wife want? And like, or you'll see, I was ranting to my girlfriend about this the other day because you know the boo baskets on TikTok?
Yeah.
Everyone's being like, if you're a boyfriend, get your girlfriend a boo basket. I am watching these videos be made by women. Women have taken time out of their day to make this video, and it's like a graphic that'll be like, here's what to put in your girlfriend's boo basket. And I'm like, why are you
making
explaining
this?
this?
Yeah.
This is not hard. Go to Target and pick out things that have pumpkins on them, and then you'll see these men who are like, oh, I've had my girlfriend of 6 years. I got her some nails because, I don't know, girls like nails. I'm like, you don't know a single thing your girlfriend likes?
Yeah.
Like, that is crazy. And so then they're being rewarded. It's like, I bring my girlfriend little treats all the time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think, like, a lot of people in relationships do this. And I was just saying, I'm like, how easy would it be to be a man, a straight man who has, like, there's just no standards, where it's like, you can be kind of an idiot all the time, but all you have to do is bring a basket of stuff you bought from Target, and your girlfriend in their head is like, oh, thank God. Okay, my boyfriend's good. Like, I have a good boyfriend. It's like, no, it's fine. He's
crazy.
fine.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like, somebody recently said in my DMs, she was like, I really want flowers from my boyfriend, and I've asked for them, and he won't do it. And I was like, okay, this might be severe. I hate putting things in writing because you can never explain nuance or tone.
Sure.
Like, I love doing my ask anythings on Instagram, but sometimes it can be tough. So I prefaced it by like, this might be a severe thing to say, but like, this is what I'm going to say. If you want flowers and that means something to you, because it means something to me. And my boyfriend would always get me flowers on special days, but once I was like, sometimes it would be nice if you just showed up with them. He does it all the time now, right?
Yeah.
Because I asked for that because he didn't know that that's something I wanted, because he's not a mind reader, bless his heart. And so I asked for that, and now he does it all the time, right?
Yeah.
And I get to feel special, and I get to watch him walk through our door with flowers that he picked up on the way home from work. It's so easy. He knows he's making me happy. Done. This girl, I was like, if you've asked for something that small, and society's gonna make you feel like that's ridiculous to ask for. It's not. Whatever are your wants and needs, they should be met.
Yeah.
And you'll find someone that'll meet them. But I don't think it's this person, because if you've said so many times, I just want you to bring me flowers, and he can't do that for you. Think about what he's not willing to do for you in a bigger sense. Think about if you had a kid with him, and the things he's not going to be willing to do in the future for you and that child. Because this is just showing me that he cannot, on his way home from work, stop at a fucking Trader Joe's and spend $4. They don't even need to be cute. Like, that would be great, but like, it's a gesture. It's the gesture. It's the thought. And I was really like, I would probably break up with that person. I would probably maybe do an ultimatum, which I'm not above. I would go on the ultimatum. I would maybe be like, it's kind of proving to me that when I request something, you either don't respect those or don't care. Because I've told you how much this would mean to me, and you simply don't care. And there's nothing you could say to prove to me that you care. And if you don't start doing it, I really am going to reconsider, because this shows me that you don't care. And I think it's like little things like that. It's like, if she asks for flowers, put a reminder in your phone. Your phone can literally remind, bring Jess flowers, or whatever her name is. Bring her fucking flower. It's so easy.
We had another episode. I can't think of this word or term. We judge ourselves by our intentions and others by their actions. So a lot of shitty men, they think, I intended to get you flowers, but I didn't. So that's equal in their mind as to getting someone flowers.
No.
And I was trying to look up, because that's a self-awareness thing, but it's a term, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's where a lot of like these
things happen.
I don't even feel apologetic for men. I hate them. You were starting to describe them, and I was getting so pissed.
You were like, no.
I started to describe
but
man.
it really is insane to me. I'm like, I don't know how. Like, and I bet you that girl does everything for him. I bet you she's the best. And so I was literally like, leave him. I don't even give a fuck. Leave him.
Because honestly, because I used to be very anxious, like very, very anxious, and I now feel very secure. But I've had like years of therapy. But what was I gonna say? I fully lost my thought.
Anxious,
second.
flowers,
it's coming,
men.
Flowers. One time I remember reading. I think the thing that like changed my entire dating life, like everything fully changed, was when it was like, you feeling sparks is like anxiety. It's like not
the spark.
You like feeling anything. Like, it doesn't mean anything. It means you're anxious. You shouldn't feel anxious. Like, obviously cute nerves. Like, before my first date with my girlfriend, I was so nervous, and like I was like, but I wasn't like, I'm gonna throw up.
I'm gonna die.
Like, and I wasn't like waiting by my phone all day being like, oh God, this is terrible, which is how I had been for years. And I dated so many people who didn't like me, and I was like, something just like, I basically broke up with the girlfriend I had and was like, I'm not gonna date until I like figure out, until I'm dating someone that's just so different, because I can't be dating the same person over and over again. It's just so bad. But I think I now view relationships so much more like technical almost, where people be like, well, how you and your girlfriend been together 3 years? Like how did you know they were like the one? And I'm like, we are best friends. We get along.
Yep.
We make sure they laugh. All of that stuff. But I'm like, I think the things that keep us together, honestly, is like, we want the same things. We have the same morals. Like, we think about things the same way.
Absolutely.
We want the same future.
Yeah.
And that is like what keeps us on the same track. We like
Totally.
are compatible. Like, it's truly a compatibility, not a like, every day I wake up and I look at them and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so in love.
Of my life.
And it's like I am some days, but also there's some days I wake up and I'm like, you're pissing me
here.
off.
Yeah.
But
No,
I'm
I
never
totally
like,
feel that.
but I always feel the same. I always feel the same amount of like, I love you, because it's all just based in like so I think sometimes I'm like, for me, the best way to date is just be like, it's not that special.
Yeah.
Like, break up with your boyfriend because like you can find someone identical to him, but
Who
who's
wants
better.
to bring the flowers. And to your point about the spark, like, think about it. We just met, right? And if you guys were like, let's get dinner, and that was like technically our first date, I wouldn't be nervous. Maybe I would be a little bit like, I get social anxiety, like,
Sure.
new people, dinner, sitting, eating. But I wouldn't be nervous because there's no pressure. We're just seeing if we would all get along as friends, if we want to keep in touch. How is a first date different? There is no pressure. There is no way after 2 hours to know if someone is the love of your life. If you're going to even end up dating someone, there's no way to know anything about them. And if I went out to dinner with you guys and that was the first 2 hours we'd spend together, I would not call my mom and be like, they're going to be my bridesmaids. I asked them to be my maid of honor. Like, I would never do that. And
Okay, kind of
like,
rude, because I did just text
like,
my mom. I said, I just met my maid of
I like
honor.
literally like fit her for the dress sitting right here. No, it's like you would never feel that way about someone you just met, and we put this like different pressure that it's like we need to feel a spark, and I'm like, there isn't a such thing. And when you're continuously going to dates feeling nervous, it's because that person is making you feel anxious. It's because, and I don't love when people are like, if he likes you, you're gonna know, or if they like you, you're gonna know, because sometimes you don't. People get nervous and anxious and whatever, but I do think at the end of the day, if the person likes you and wants to be with you, they're going to make an effort. They're going to act in a way that you'll know. You're not going to be questioning it, really. And you're never going to feel like, oh my God, are they going to text me? Are they going to text me back? They're just going to text back.
Or you won't feel, or they like are busy, but you text twice and you don't feel like, should I send
oh my
a
God,
third
should I send
text?
it?
Like, is it too much? It's like not,
Yes.
especially because I forgot what I was going to say again. Never mind. It was there and I really started. I came in strong and then I was like, I don't know.
You're totally right. You're not going to have that. Like, should I send the second text? I remember like when I learned that lesson, I was like 19. I was in this relationship and we were like always texting. And I don't really do that anymore, but 19, like that's what you do. And we hadn't like officially started dating, but like we were always texting. And one day for like 6 hours, he didn't respond. And I was like freaking out. And then I was like, okay, Eli, like, if you want to be with this person, they're not going to think it's weird if you just follow up. So I said, like, hope you have a great day. And he immediately responded and was like, oh my God, I was wondering why I didn't hear from you. I got distracted when I was sending you that message. I forgot to hit send. I was like, I had this like sigh of relief where I was like, damn, the right person, the person that respects you, that wants to like know more about you, they're never going to just go on ghosting rampages and not apologize or not say, hey, was super busy. Or when people are like, I can't tell if he's just studying for the LSAT or if he's ghosting me. I'm like, everyone has enough time to take their phone out of their pocket. Hey, gonna be a crazy week with studying for the LSAT, but when it's all over, we'd love to take you to dinner on Saturday night. Sorry, you're not gonna hear from me a lot. If someone likes you, they're gonna do that. They're gonna do that.
Because it's even not like, I don't think everyone expresses their love in the same way. So I think sometimes it can be like, I think sometimes people can be like, well, okay, I'm not a person who's like
a texter.
A texter. I'm not a gift giver. I'm not a blah, 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 whatever. And I'm like, totally. But like, even with the flowers thing, it's like, yeah, but if I've literally said to you, this is what I need.
Important to me.
This is important to me. Like, you, because even like when my girlfriend started dating, I was very much words of affirmation, which I think has shifted now as I've gotten a little more secure. I'm much more like acts of service because I'm like, please do the dishes. I know you love me. Thank you so much. I just want you to do the dishes. But like, I was super words of affirmation-y, and I would also give that, and they were very acts of service. So I would send these like long paragraphs, you know, when we were really first started dating, just being like, I just have been thinking about you all day, and I'm just obsessed with you, and you're so pretty, and whatever. And it's like, I wouldn't do that now because I'm like, it doesn't like make them feel really
they're
like,
not.
whatever.
Also, they're not reciprocating it because that's not how they show you love, and you're like, what the fuck? I think that's also a differentiation that you just need to like know about when you are more secure, like finding out someone's love language.
But then it's like, if I was like, this really means a lot to
Yes.
me. If you would like ever so often try to do this,
They would rise to the occasion.
they would they would do that. So I think sometimes I'm like, yeah, you can be like, just being a piece of shit is not a love language. So if you're not doing, sometimes they're like, well, I just don't express love that way. I'll hear people talk about their boyfriends.
Yeah.
I'm like, what way is he expressing
Yeah,
love?
like how
I
is
haven't
he
seen
doing
that.
it then? Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
totally agree with that. It's such a
And then it'll be
crazy
things like,
thing.
well, I work. I'm like, okay, well, you would have worked even if you didn't have a wife.
Yeah.
So
Like,
what is the
what?
love? How
Yeah.
is that for? That's so like financially manipulative. That's like
Yeah,
so bizarre.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like worrying about if someone's gonna text you, or like thinking that the third text will send them over the edge. Like, it's all like like based in like how you were raised. Whether like you're hyper vigilant, you're like, will this? It unfortunately means like sometime in your childhood or growing up, you felt totally invalidated, or like all of your actions were like people poured over them, or maybe your parents were super critical.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
really is unfortunate. So like going way back, no, but like you were saying, like if you work on yourself, it starts to like go into every sort of part of your.
Absolutely.
So like if you start to like the actionable, I guess, like you go to your therapist, you start working on yourself, not even for the intention of getting in a relationship. You start to validate yourself, and this is a hard lesson to learn because main character syndrome. We are truly not that special. We're like no one.
Well, I'm a Leo. So
Well, no,
I'm the sun.
you are.
In moderation, like no one is truly like going over all of our flaws.
100%.
And if they are, that is actually a really problematic
They're not
mental
okay.
illness.
No, they're not okay.
If I can't, even at my, sorry guys, at my drunkest, and I was pissed, I would not pick someone apart.
Absolutely not.
Right? So if they are doing that and you're like, oh, they're doing that, they are not well.
They're not
So-
well, and you don't want to
Yeah.
be with that person.
Yeah, so work on yourself, and that will not only start to affect your relationships, and like, the advice becomes easier to like digest of like, I can just send a follow-up text, because I
Yeah.
do this.
I want.
Yeah.
Because I want to.
And I'm valid, and I'm normal, and they seem normal. So
Yes.
yeah,
Because it's hard because like I was very anxious, but I would always tell my therapist years ago, I was like, it's so hard to be anxious because sometimes people, like my intrusive thought is like, oh, they're not texting me back for 2 hours. So they're definitely going to break up with me for sure.
Yeah.
But I was like, it's hard because sometimes that is true. Like sometimes everyone else
Absolutely.
is also like, everyone else is not like a clean slate, and everyone's operating in a perfect way. So it's like
Yeah.
sometimes people will do things where you're like, that's exactly what I thought they were
It
going to
then
do.
confirms
Yeah,
that
and it just
intrusive
confirmed
thought.
my anxiety. So now it's like, well, but if you just work on yourself, you're like, well, it doesn't really matter what they do because I know it's fine to send a text.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I also think it's like there's this idea that you have to love yourself before you can love someone else. And
Yeah.
I really think it's a bit of bullshit because the idea of falling in love, you're falling. You don't even have control over it. It's called
Yeah.
falling in love.
Yeah.
To do that for yourself is much harder because it suggests that you trust your gut instincts. It suggests that you actually like who you are. It's so hard. I prefer like respect yourself before you love someone else because I don't love myself every single day. That doesn't make any sense. Nobody does.
Yeah.
The person on the other end of that text message or dinner table, wherever you are, they don't love themselves every day. I strive to just respect myself and like myself.
I love that.
And then that way I can be like, you know what? I can send that text because I want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they're going to break up with me, they're going to break up with me. And that's not the right person for me. This is just, rejection, redirection. The universe is guiding me towards someone who is. So it's a win-win. That kind of thing. I didn't have that ability when I was, first of all, when I was on the love yourself journey, which is like, Instagram infographic self-love girly who's like literally Hailey Bieber, and I'm like, why am I watching this? It doesn't make me feel good,
Yeah.
When I was on that, it wasn't working. When I hated myself, it wasn't working. But then when I just respected myself a little bit, I was like, okay, like exactly what you guys are saying. I can send the text. It's gonna
Yeah.
be fine.
Yeah, because self-love too is, sorry, go ahead.
this is like not the right word, but it almost feels like ableist against yourself to say that I need to be perfect mentally for someone to love me.
Absolutely.
Or to be healthy in a relationship.
Yeah,
or to,
I need to be completely healthy. Like, so we would never say someone needs to be completely physically healthy to be loved.
100%.
And then also I think about like to love yourself, you can't be loved by anyone else unless you love yourself. That's not true. And also like think about the books that you want to read or like the people you follow online. the books you want to read, you want a flawed main character, you know? You don't, like, it would be so boring to read a book where someone's, like, perfect physically, mentally. It's like, where's the spice, you know? So, I mean, it doesn't mean be totally mentally adrift, but, like,
I know what you're saying.
Well, but also it's ever changing. You can never, like, I think sometimes you'll see people will be in, like, a 10-year relationship, and then they break up with the person. And they're like, I was not in a good way. Or like and it's like, yeah, because when you started dating, maybe you were in a good way. But you will go through bad phases in your life over and over and over again. It's like, the things I hate about myself now are not the things I hated about myself 4 years ago.
Totally.
And when and they are always changing, and there will be new things and things I didn't even think I could hate about myself that I will find, I'm sure. And things that I hate about myself now, but we're going to love in 5 years. Oh my God, sorry, I'm really hitting this mic today.
You're so passionate.
I'm really moving my
hands.
I'm doing the really, like, I always make fun of actors' roundtables. Like, they'll be talking about something really normal. They'll be like, I got the script, but they're always like, I got the script and I just like read it and I like felt that it's like so intense.
It's
and
so
like,
intense.
The hand movements don't change what you're saying. But what was I saying?
I was also going to say that if you think of yourself, I have to be perfect in order to be loved, means you probably have like black and white thinking. Like if you're like, I'm not perfect, that means I'm a bad person. And then you yourself are like, no, bad people don't deserve to be loved. Then of course, if you've internalized that, then that's going to come out
100%.
everywhere. So as soon as you can see it, like secure people are not perfect. They're just comfortable being neutral.
Yeah.
You know, so you got to get yourself, instead of I want to be a good person or I'm a bad person, get yourself in the neutral, you know, and then drift to a stop. But yes.
What's like your red flag that if like your friend comes and tells you about a date, you're like, never, no questions asked, that's bad, no, bye. Besides, I guess, like, someone being like, I hate you and you're ugly.
I was going to say, like, besides, like, complete bigotry and all of that, right? Like, none of that. That's not going to happen. I would say my number one red flag, and this is a bit hard to spot, but it's very common, is when people don't express interest in differences between the two of you. So, like, I'm a theater girly, right? Like, and that's mostly the girls, gays, and theys. Like, let's be honest. Like, there's always like the token straight, but like, it's a small number of people.
Yeah.
So when I'm going on a date with like a straight cis man, it's likely that he probably doesn't like. He's not like a theater man. I'm not even into like theatrical acting men. That's never really been like my forte that much. So I think like, if I started to talk about how much I love Broadway and how important it was to me and is to me in musical theater, and the person was like totally checked out or didn't give a fuck or didn't ask questions or didn't give eye contact, I would be like, that's a red flag. And it's a little bit tougher to spot because sometimes you're like, well, they might just not be interested in that. And I'm like, well, I don't care about football. But if somebody is across the table telling me how passionate they are about it, I'm going to listen. I like to learn.
And ask questions.
And frankly, I like when people are passionate about something. And even if it is football, that's interesting. Or if it's like some historical thing. Or if it's finance. I literally couldn't give less of a fuck about numbers and math. But if someone is passionate and it's coming out, and that's like a difference between us, my interest in that would be a green flag because it shows. You know, like I'm always looking for that interest back to me, or just like this idea that, okay, if we did spend some more time together, that person would want to come see a show with me, and they wouldn't make unfair and unkind comments about theater or musical theater. And they would, you know, learn up on it a little bit because they want to be together. You know, I think that if my friend came to me and was like, yeah, it was fine until I started talking about like, you know, my sewing machine and like how I'm obsessed with like making like crocheting and he just like kind of checked out and didn't care and didn't ask any questions. And I'm like, well, that's your favorite thing to do. Like even if he's literally never cared about fashion a day in his life, like if you like to make your own clothes and like you're into fashion and like you're into style, then like it would have been nice if he asked you some questions or they asked you some questions or she asked you some questions and they just like paid attention to you. I feel like that's like a red flag is when the disinterest in differences.
I think totally agree. As someone who's used to be avoidant and more secure, I love when I'm very attracted to women who are like very passionate about something. It means also I'm not going to take up a lot of their time, you know, because they have something else to do. But I think that's like the one thing. It's crazy how men and people who are not men differ like in what is considered attractive, because like it's almost like the opposite. Like older women as a lesbian are more attractive. Body hair is perfectly attractive. People who are interested in interesting and outspoken, more attractive in like the lesbian realm. And it's crazy to see the differences in like, well, men will see like a passionate woman and be like, this is a nuisance.
Like,
you know?
no, yes.
I'm like, this is a woman that we write books about.
100%.
Yeah, like,
100%.
this is Jane Eyre.
Yeah,
Like,
this
God.
is fucking like Joe March.
Yeah.
Like, I think that it's also, I totally agree with that,
Yeah.
like 1000%. And I don't go on a first date and I'm not like, so I spent 1,000 hours watching theater YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Like, we all give, like, I give Eli light. Like, we're all gonna give light. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because then what is there to get to know about someone if you're just like, here you go.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna like pretend like I am not a theater kid. I'm not gonna pretend like my fucking Spotify Wrapped isn't like Glee cast, Ben Platt. Like, I'm not gonna pretend that, because why the fuck? And I'm looking for someone who's gonna see that and be like, okay, so I've never ever listened to Glee cast, but like, what's your favorite episode of Glee? Why do you like it?
Right.
Like, and you're so right. Like, women and like non-men are so much more like interested in doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think there are men out there that are going to do that, and it is a really big red flag to me if you're like riding off that behavior, being like, well, you know, like, I just think he doesn't really like, you know, whatever it is, women's tennis, and I'm like, no, like, he needs to be interested in that shit, like, or else that's not fair to you.
Do you ever feel like, having dated men, it's like a case study. We're
like, this is so interesting.
Interesting. Okay. Do you feel? Because I was saying this a while ago on the podcast, but my girlfriend and I were talking about how like sometimes we feel like with some men who are misogynistic, it's like those men don't like women, but they still have to date and marry women. I guess they don't have to, but like they are still like, oh, I'm attracted to women, but I don't respect like or enjoy spending time with women because they are misogynistic. But they still have to. And so they know all the things they're supposed to do. Like, they're like, oh, I'm supposed to like pull the chair out and I'm supposed to like go on these dates. But it becomes like a really difficult marriage because it's like, they really don't want to spend time.
100%.
It's like, they even like love them, but they don't like them.
No, this is something that I think about all the time. All the time is the fact that like I never had male friends that weren't gay. Like, I have a lot of gay male friends. I have a lot of like non-binary friends, but no like cis male like that's not happening in my life, right? Like so, but then like my life partner is going to be that person,
right?
And I think the thing that I love so much about my boyfriend is that he likes to be friends with women. He loves to talk to women. He loves my friends. He's like down to go out to dinner with like me, my best friend, and just him, or like, you know, whatever. And I think like it helps that like he did do theater growing up, so he was around a lot of women as friends. And I think it's like kind of another thing, like, okay, your boyfriend doesn't need to have had female friendships. I'm not like saying like if he's never had if he has like no friends that are girls, it's a red flag. But I think it's kind of interesting that men are expected to make their life partner someone that they've never really gotten to know any women in that way other than maybe their mom. They are lucky to have her around. Like and
then there it is. That's how it. And then they're like, I only have my mommy, and then my new mommy,
and then it becomes a problem. And I think that that's one thing that like I never really thought about that much. Like these men are gonna make life partners out of people that they don't even understand at all. It was just helpful, and I think it's helpful when guys have sisters, but not even really, because it's like the sibling thing is different. I think it's just helpful that my boyfriend, like, he likes women as friends. He likes women as people to talk to. He likes women like in general, but it's never a thing of like, oh, it's the female friend is like encroaching in on our relationship. It's not like that.
Well, because unless you went to an all boys boarding school, I'm like, it is weird that like if you don't have any female friends,
like, what are you doing?
It is like, okay, so then you are kind of like, no, like that's wild to me. Like that, how do you not have any
or
female
you put
friends?
yourself in spaces that you couldn't meet them, right? Like the straight male friends I do have are all from theater, and that's just like how that cookie crumbles.
All
like
3 of them.
You know, like all 2.5 of them. No, they are. Every time I say like I have no straight male friends, some of my straight male friends like from theater will slide in and be like, I'm a ghost, and I'm like, kind of in the grand scheme of things. But it's like ultimately like, did you not put yourself in spaces where there were like any femme people, like any? Like, what are you doing? Like, or like, okay, fine, maybe you didn't, or maybe you went to the all boys school, whatever. But now, do you like women? Like, do you like to talk to them? Do you like to hang out with them? Or is it like this begrudging thing of like, oh, I wish I was with the boys tonight? And I think it goes back to the frat boy man Wolf of Wall Street man and the dudes in the middle, it's like I think the dudes in the middle are the ones that actually like women.
Yeah.
But what we're really seeing is the loud frat boys and the loud Wolf of Wall Street, for lack of a better phrase, and it's like very polarizing.
Because we were talking about it because I was like, my girlfriend and I were laughing at it's like a trope of these men who go play golf all the time.
Yes.
And we were like, what is this? Like, this is crazy, where they're like, my husband, when he wants to play golf with the boys on our 5-year wedding anniversary, I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's so bizarre, because I feel like my girlfriend and I actually are pretty, like, live pretty separate. Like, when we're working, we're working. Like, we see each other in the morning, and we always hang out at night, and unless we're hanging out with friends. But, like, during our workday, we're not really texting. We're just kind of, like, unless it's updates, like, you need to take the dog to the vet or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I always want to, like, see or spend time with you. Or like most of the time, if like I even go on a work trip or doing something fun, I'm like, oh, it would be more fun if you were there. Like, I wish you were there. It would be so fun.
Yeah.
And when we go out with each other's friends and we're like, oh, you should invite our friends, like you should invite them because it's fun. You know, like we just like all enjoy each other. And I'm like, I do think there's these people who they're like just trying to golf all the time because golf is so long, because they're like, I don't want to spend time with you.
Yeah. It's nuts.
Oh my God. Golfers, surfers, cyclists, long distance runners. Love if you can do any of that in moderation. But when a man is super into a outdoorsy sport and they have like a wife and kids, I'm like, you're doing that under the guise of like health and wellness, but I know it's to get away from your family.
Yeah.
Like if you run a marathon.
Like fishing or something.
Fishing is such, if it's the biggest.
Yeah, if you run marathons, that is incredible. But like, again, it's always leaving on a Saturday or like leaving when your wife is free, and it's like, and it's acceptable because it's your health, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, take your wife out surfing too.
Or even like a man
or
cave.
golfing.
Like women don't have women caves. It's like a man cave, so I can get like the whole
So you can
premise
get
of a man
away.
cave is like so I can get away from my fucking
It's
wife.
so
It's like,
crazy. It's like,
what?
do you like this person at all?
Yeah,
No,
it's
and
wild.
it's like the golf thing is nuts to me. And like, it's funny, my boyfriend, like, he doesn't really golf, but he has a job where like golfing will sometimes come in. And I love it. Not because I want to get away from him, but I'm like, go have fun. Like, you gotta do that. And I'm like, and then I can just like have the house to myself. It's kind of nice. Like, that's, I think, what you need to look for, like when the women are like actively encouraging it. Or number two, when he asks. I just find that to be so, like, hey, would you mind if I went and golfed this weekend? It'll just be a few hours on this day and we can still have our date night on Saturday. Whatever happened to that? What's with the like, I'm going golfing all day, period, end of story? Like,
don't try to control me.
I'm not
don't try to
saying
control
that
me in
like
my
people
clubs.
need to like get permission from their partners to do like leisure activities, but when it's something like you're describing, when it's pretty constant and it's like the method to getting away, and the whole thing is like, oh, I'm away from the wife, I'm away from the girlfriend, I'm away from the kids, whatever it is. It's like, whatever happened to just asking her if like that's gonna work for her? And if it's not, then you guys can have a conversation about it. Like, that just shows, again, respect.
100%.
And the crazy thing is like, you know how you were talking about, like we were talking way early on, like women who are maybe anxiously attached or something like that, or it's like internalized misogyny. At the end of the day, I don't even blame women for anything. You know, it's always the dude. So I'm just, I just wanted to throw that out there.
It's wild when I came out, like I had more male friends, and when I came out as gay, I feel like a lot of it's so, and I've heard other lesbians talk about this too, where it's like guy friends that you're like, we are not anything.
Oh
like,
my God.
I don't like them, they don't like me, there is not, it's only platonic. And then you come out as gay and they kind of are like, goodbye. And you're like, I'm sorry, did you think we were gonna have sex? Because that's crazy. Like, and so I always wonder, I'm like, for people who are not lesbians, who don't get to be like, I'm gay, you have absolutely no chance. Like, are there so many people who are like, I have these 5 guy friends who we are just like, they're like my brothers.
Yeah.
And if you were to be like, up front, we will never have sex.
Yeah.
If they would kind of like run away.
I totally wonder about that too. Again, I don't have a lot of like straight male friends. My boyfriend's friends are like straight male friends of mine, but that again is completely like negates that whole thing. Like they know they're not gonna sleep with me, right? Like there's no shot. Like this is like a serious relationship. And those guys to me are like kind of like brothers for that reason.
Because you're like, you know.
My boyfriend's best friend, like I will literally be on the phone with him. Like he's like a part of my life. He's someone I love. But it's like, that is likely also because like we're able to have a relationship that close and intimate because there's no shot, there's no anything. There can't be, there's not. I think it's interesting that's definitely like something to think about.
I was gonna say, so like I originally when I started posting content online was straight, And I did check my stats, but not like followers. I originally came out as bi, and then a year later came out as a lesbian. And it's the same thing of I checked the percentage of dudes that followed me after I came out as bi. There was a 20% drop off of dudes.
Wow.
And then when I came out as a lesbian, literally 60% of men dropped off.
Goodbye, though. Like,
And so
good
that's-
riddance.
the
And
thing
that
is-
must suck as a comedian too, because
it's
you're
like
like, it's not like
shitty.
I'm
It's like-
posting bikini pics.
Also, it's like, what the fuck? But also, like, they need to leave. Like, I don't want them watching your funny content. They don't deserve it.
But it's like, it was the same thing of like, they had originally no chance.
Yeah.
But in their mind, they were like, since she is straight, I do have a chance. And it's the same thing as when a girl gets a boyfriend, posts him for the first time, and then guys just unfollow. Like, it's that same sort of mentality. As soon as I came out and I was not accessible, they were like, and I'm checked out. So
You're like, I was never accessible.
I
You live in
think-
Idaho, and we're not going to
I
date each
think
other.
it's also like to take it one step further and like
Yeah.
maybe even more like meta. I think in a way it's also that men have power over women, right? Like we all
Yeah.
know this. This is like our society that we live in, our patriarchal society. Like until we don't have that anymore, men will always have power over women. When women are saying like, I am not gonna have men in my life in a romantic and sexual way because that is not how I identify, because I am
Yeah.
gay, because I am bi, because whatever, men feel so like almost powerless in a way that they like can't take it.
Yeah.
And that's like a really frightening thing.
Yeah.
Like, because even I bet if we looked at it, more men would have dropped off when you were like, I'm gay, than a girl who has a boyfriend, because in their head, he's like, I still could.
Yeah.
It's
But
so
even, like,
scary.
Yeah.
I had, and because they really will like, I even like already was out as gay.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a lot there, like in the comedy community. There's some, shocker, some bad men in the comedy community.
Wow.
And I just had some experiences where I was like, I'm telling you I'm gay. I have a girlfriend. I am not flirting with you because I literally am not attracted to you in any capacity and I'm not gonna date you. And I would hear them say things or try to make moves on me, or if I was drunk, try to kiss me, try to do all these things where I'm like, even I am saying I am gay. And you still are like, but
Maybe.
I can still do what I want.
Exactly. And it's like women do not act like that.
No.
I hate it. Also, I wanted to point out, you wrote a question that says, you date men? How is that?
I did write that.
No, it's like so troubling. Like it's so troubling.
I also, okay, this is kind of I read this question last night to my roommate and my girlfriend. I was like, is that a good question? And they were kind of both like, not really. You don't need to
Well,
ask
now
that,
I
but I'm
want it.
asking anyways. I said, you're a playwright.
Yes.
People often refer to a good man as a man written by a woman. How would you write that man?
I think it could be tweaked because I understand what
No,
you're trying to say.
I understand what you're trying to say
Yeah.
too. Like how, like what's a man that's written by a woman?
Yeah.
Can I interject?
Yeah, I want you to interject.
Like, there's so much fan fiction shipping usually two dudes together because women are beautiful and they contain multitudes, right? Like, a lot of times when women date men, they're just projecting their fantasies onto this dude.
Yeah.
Like, women are naturally creatives. They're writers. Like, that's why you see, like, Harry Styles and all these dudes. Women have come up with, like, entire books about what they could be like because women are already interesting. You
Yeah.
don't need to project this super, like, person who's super complex, multidimensional, because they are already.
Yeah.
So women write more stories because they have to.
Yeah.
But so how do you?
Well, I was just thinking about it, right? Like, and I think of my little brother. Like, I have two little brothers, one gay, one straight. They're twins. The straight one, I think of him as someone that's like really written by a woman, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's so sensitive. Like, he's just a great person. But then I think about the fact that he's able to be this great person in a patriarchal society as a straight man because of the influence of my mom and me in his life. And I'm not saying that my little brother isn't amazing. He is.
Yeah.
But those amazing guys who are like written by women, they actually are raised and influenced
They
by
are written
women.
by women in a
and,
way.
and another gay and a gay twin who is
Yeah.
a very feminine person, who has a strong feminine side, who always has.
You can say twink.
No, he's just like, like I think he really has all of that because of those the queer
Yeah.
influence and the femme influence and the feminine female influences on his life. And it almost makes me kind of like discouraged in a way because it's like not our job to make men good.
No.
But in this world, like they don't have a chance almost with the how bad the patriarchy is, right? And like men straight men like hate that term, and it's like you are being affected too negatively. Like if you just like took a second and understood that liberation from the patriarchy, like feminism, actually would benefit you, we would be in a much different place. But I think it's like it's not their fault that they're gonna end up like whatever if a woman isn't like making sure they're not. But it's kind of sad to me that like those men who are like written by women, they're only that way because of that influence and the job that person did was pretty great. Do you know what I mean? Or just like even like the spaces that they're in around a lot of women, like it's kind of sad almost, like kind of feels kind of like depressing in a way, because it's like, you know, when I think about my brother, I'm like, well, I don't want to be like he was lucky to be around me, but like my mom was like, she really like encouraged softness. She encouraged us to, you know, go and do what we wanted to do and explore different like things, and we didn't have to be so hard. My brother was never forced to be masculine in any way. And the ways that he is masculine were all chosen by him. I think it's just like the home that I came from it celebrated softness at such a volume, and that's definitely one of the reasons is because you have a daughter who's a very feminine, you have a gay son who's very feminine, then that other son is naturally going to gravitate toward that softness and that sensitivity. And I just think it's like, whoa, that's craziness, that it's like all queer people and women, that's like the reason of these like women written by men, right?
No,
that's
exactly.
very interesting.
It's scary.
I just had to know. I think
it's a very,
so cool.
very good question.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
glad you asked.
No one else thought so. They were all
I think they were thinking too technically, because we understood what you were trying to convey.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What's your I know that Jordan is a triple Aries, but what's your roommate's signs?
He is a Taurus, and I don't know the other two.
I feel like male Tauruses can often like. Female Tauruses are not like this as much as male Tauruses. They have like egos too, and they're very like almost analytical in that way. So I could see him being like, that question doesn't make sense to me.
So you're right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, because I was just like, I feel like writing, being a writer, like you write, I don't know, you write about men a lot. You write men, or you have to, I feel like writing a man would be like more hard than anything else, because you have to like not, like writing just like a true man is like hard.
So sad.
No, it's also interesting because whenever I do write fiction, I am drawn to writing male protagonists, I think. And I've never understood exactly why, but I think it's this idea, this like fantastical idea of like what something could be if it was done right. I like if an idea strikes me and it's about two people and I'm trying to figure out like the tense and like what person I'm writing in, like I would realize in college, like I would have to intentionally be like, let's write in the female POV because this needs that. It's so interesting. I think it's because of exactly what you're saying, like almost like this like idea of like what something could be, this fantasy of what something could be, this like women want to read that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and even like, I mean, I think it's so easy. If you're like, you grew up with like a dad, you're a guy, you grew up with a dad, you have 4 brothers, you're around boys, just guys all the time. And then you go to school and it's like normal to have like just guy friends, and you like I think sometimes things have to be so much more intentional, where I think it has to be like, well, I don't have any female friends, or I have no females in my life. I have to make that happen. Like I need to make that. And even like I've done that in the past with like years ago, looking at like who I follow and being like, why do I follow mostly white comedians? Like that's a problem.
It's
why
intentionality.
Like that is not, oh, well, I could easily just be like, well, that's just like who came up on my, like, I don't, but it's like, no, you don't need to like say why. Like
take the extra step.
Find other people.
Other people exist. The algorithm doesn't favor them. Like take a step outside of like your world and like find that. I feel like that's similar with reading. Like a lot of books are like people just, I mean, first of all, like we're all taught like American literature. It's like canon, whatever, it's like all white men. But then it's like, even so, like I found myself reading so many books written by white men that I was like, oh my God, like this needs to stop. And then you just completely open your worldview. But like some people are just not thinking in that way, and they'll just be like, well, this is just what came on my algorithm. This is just what was recommended to me. And it's like, well, you have to look a little bit wider than that.
Because even I like will hear people be like, well, these are just my friends. My friend group is not diverse in any way. We all like look the exact same. That's just who I went to school with. That's just who, and I'm like, it still is a problem.
It's comfortable.
It's right. It still is like, you need to look inward and be like, why? So I just think with that, it's like, if you are a guy who's like, I think if you can't be raised by women, go find women, go
Yeah.
interact with women or
Yeah.
non-binary people or whoever to like
Do theater.
open your brain. Yeah, do theater summer camp.
No, I'm serious. Like, go to theater camp.
Honestly, that would
Like,
be a
you
really
need it.
fun show where we take like the straightest like bachelor men and we put them through like a summer intensive acting.
Bring them to like
camp.
dance and like
Yeah.
theater camp. No, sorry, that would be my dream. That's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Think about it as a reality show.
It's like Queer Eye, but we're just trying to make them like dateable. We're
no,
like, please.
we're like,
Yeah.
let's just see how this transforms them.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they would all like, they would all love it too. It's like
Yeah.
theater is very liberating. Like people
Yes.
like it heals.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, men like, slap each other on the butt, and it's just like it's a bid for like closeness. It's a
Yeah.
joke, but we're in comedy. Well, there's so many people who are not men who like cannot be vulnerable without being ironic. And because
Yeah.
like that's an insecurity. So I see that with like dudes who like can't hug a dude, and it is unfortunate because it is how they were raised, but it's like it's all the rituals that men do is just you want to be close, you
Yeah.
know? You want to hang out, you want to touch.
Yeah.
When you wrestle someone, it's the competitive nature, but also it's nice to be touched.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's like you want those.
Yeah.
You want to be the little spoon.
Yeah.
They all want to. Like you're like dating men. What is it like? They all want to be the little spoon.
Yeah.
You have to find the ones willing to ask. Who doesn't want to be spooned?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Even-
I've heard women say like that are dating a very like masculine man, like when they broke up with them, the effect was more than they'd ever seen in a they've never felt that in a like they
Yeah.
were been sad during a breakup, but they were like, my ex-boyfriend was like, I can't go on because they were like, I realized I felt closeness with hundreds of people. I have close
Intimacy.
intimate relationships. I've cuddled with my friends. I've done all this.
Hold your hands
He has
with
never
Exactly.
with anyone, even sometimes their parents. Like they're
Exactly.
like not since they were 3. So it brings out this like visceral, like I am baby, you
Yeah.
are my mom. And I know everyone jokes about men's girlfriends being their moms, but it's like I think there's like true like. Yeah, because we have so many caring people in our lives who are like, will hold us and whatever. But I
Yeah.
think a lot of, once again, in a very, men and women-y society,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
some men literally only have that from their mom. Like they
It's
don't have it from
sad,
their
yeah.
dad. There's if they have 2 sisters, their sisters cuddle, but they're not going to cuddle with their brother, like whatever it
Yeah.
is. And then they're left with like this woman that they're like, you're just like a random woman I dated in college, but you're the only one who's ever like given me a hug.
Yeah.
But
It's
think
like,
about
ugh.
think about that's why I think green flag men with dogs, because they're caring for something so deeply.
Mm-hmm.
Like men who are single and alone in an apartment with a dog. I like that because I'm like, you're caring for something. There's something that like I am not responsible enough to have a dog because I cannot have something depending on me for its
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
This person like. That's a big responsibility. You said you had a dog, you
Yeah.
know.
Oh, yeah.
Like for a single man to have a dog, it's like kind of like you're developing a routine of care.
Yeah.
You love this thing.
Yeah.
This thing is dependent on you.
And you
for
have to do
life.
things when you don't want to. You have to get
yeah,
up and walk
exactly,
them.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then you want to because you have the dog that you love, that you snuggle with. That's like this emotional closeness. Not saying a girlfriend should be a dog by any means, but it's like where else are any straight men getting that like emotional closeness and
Well,
intimacy?
and they like made a decision where they were like, I want something to care for and I want something to
I
love.
like that too. I love
And
that.
It's like, that's really very sweet.
And / I'm going to sacrifice some of my socializing because when I go out to dinner at 8 o'clock, I cannot come home past midnight. It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
fair to my dog.
Yeah.
It's like that choice it's a choice, and I feel like I value that in a
Yeah.
straight man.
Oh, well, thank you so much for being on our
Thank you.
show.
You guys.
Do you want to just like plug everything you have going on?
Sure.
You have so much. I feel like you can talk for like 2 minutes.
Oh
You
my
have so much happening.
So you can just go to theelirallo.com. That's where like all the information is about like pre-ordering the book and book tour and all
Great.
those fun things. So that's there. And then my Instagram is just my name. My TikTok's just my name. I have a podcast. You guys have to come on if you're ever in New York.
Yes,
It's called
please.
Miscongeniality.
Yeah.
And
It's
this
called
was so fun.
Miscongeniality?
Yes.
I love Miscongeniality.
I know, I love that movie. I when I named it that, I was like, is there any podcast called that? I hope not. It's just like fun. But yeah, this was so fun.
So fun.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for
We're
being
so
on.
excited for
Yeah.
your whole
my gosh,
journey.
thank
like
you guys.
releasing a book is, I mean, you know this, but it's
Yeah.
so big and
Thank you.
exciting
Oh
and
my God.
cool.
I want to come watch you guys do you guys do stand up? Is that like
We have a
the
show
thing?
in New York that's about to happen.
Wait, really?
So
when?
we'll have to come. We'll be there in November. We're doing
Okay.
the New York Comedy
Wonderful.
Festival. Oh, do you want to grab your
that's so
tickets?
fun. I want to
Yeah.
come. Okay, I'm gonna come.
Oh,
I
we
find
love
you
to
both
see you when we're in New
hilarious.
York.
Oh my
Yay,
gosh.
Yay. This was so fun. I
So fun.
literally said, because we were like, trying to think of topics, and I literally said in the meeting, I was like, I don't know, I just kind of want to talk to them about dating. Like, I was like, just selfishly, I think it'd be fun.
It was fun.
Yeah.
We had a great time.
I feel like, I mean, I did want to talk to you because I feel like, I mean, I've dated men, but it's more like theory at this point. So it's nice to like hear someone who's like, this is
A
what's
living,
happening.
breathing creature
Yeah.
that is dating men.
Fascinating. Thank you so much.
So fascinating. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if you are watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. And if you are listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts, please rate us 5 stars.
As well as go to anywhere you get your podcasts and check out Miss Congeniality. And you might want to read a book. Do you think listening to an audiobook is the same as reading a book?
Okay. I got like absolutely annihilated for this take, but this is my take.
Round 2.
If I've never listened to audiobooks. I've tried it. It's not big for me. I'm very visual. I like to like read. I would probably say I listened to that book unless I was impaired in some way that I was not able to read a book. Sure. Whether
like inebriated?
No, I mean like blind.
Oh, okay.
I mean like I don't want to be like ableist in this take. And so if there was no way for me to read a book, whether it was some sort of mental disability that I had, whether I was blind, whatever it was, then you can say I read that book. Because what other way are you going to do it?
Totally.
If you have the ability and option to read words on a page, I would probably say I listened to that book, but I don't know what you guys think.
Okay. No, I'm the same way. I don't listen to I don't listen or read. So
You're like, I'm not big into it.
Yeah, well, I actually love reading, but I'm on a new reading journey because I have really bad learning disabilities. And so I always I just can't read. Like I would read a book. I can read. Oh my God, this mic. Sorry today. I'm sorry, man. I keep slapping it. I like reading and I can read fast, but I will read and there is nothing comprehensible.
So then maybe though, because of that, I think if audiobooks worked for you and like because of the things that you have going on, but I think that you could successfully say I read that if you listened to it. Yeah. I'm just talking about somebody who could do either and are retaining information on either. Wouldn't you say I listened to that? I don't know. What do you think?
I think I'm more interested in the fact that we all have our parts of the internet where we have to add like a million disclaimers. Like I wouldn't even have thought of that. Yeah. Because we both have dyslexia, and so we're the people that could be offended.
No, people were offended when I was like, I think it's listened to, but then I realized, you know what? There's validity in that. It can come off as ableist. I don't mean if you're like dyslexic or blind,
100%.
or if you have any sort of like learning disability or mental disability. I just mean like someone like me who is fully capable of doing either.
Listening.
Yeah. I would say listening.
Okay, then we're.
Although I've been doing better at reading because I'm on this new reading journey where I was like, I always would be like, I need to start reading, and then I would go and pick out like Michelle Obama's biography or something like.
It's like too much. Going too
I was
big,
like, oh well, I need to. I realized I was reading books that I wanted people to see on my shelf.
You're like Jane Eyre.
Yeah,
like, let me just fucking read like War and Peace.
Yes, exactly. And then someone was like, you can just like read fun books.
You can just like
read
literally read
Colleen
Hoover, like you can.
And now I just read literally lesbian smut. And I'm like, I'm getting through books like you've never believed.
No,
like, I am like reading,
so
and they're like
it.
so cheesy and stupid, and like some of them are badly written, and some of them are for like not even badly written. They're for high schoolers.
Cringe
like,
is a
not
victimless crime.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Cringe is a victimless crime.
Unless
like,
you're
that's
watching.
Like totally, yeah, that's totally victimless. Like you're just enjoying your life.
It's incredible. And I was like, this is still reading. I'm reading.
You're
this.
reading.
Yeah.
I don't need to read like a self-help. I was always reading self-help books, and it's like, yeah, of course you don't want to get excited to go read this because like sometimes it's nice and it can be helpful, but like you're not like, what's gonna happen? Are they gonna fuck?
Are they gonna have sex? Yeah.
I have to read like nonfiction because I can't see anything in my head. I can't imagine stuff.
Oh, interesting.
It's more like just a concept.
Got you.
So I prefer to learn.
I like
but
that.
like if I could see like colors in my head when I close my eyes, then I'd read more fiction.
I'm like, do I see
excuses.
colors? I'm like, do I like picture things?
Well,
I have a very
what's-
active imagination.
What's that like? You try to picture an apple in your head. Is it just the concept, or is it a full red apple that you can see?
I see a full red apple.
I'm thinking of an apple, but it's like hurting my head to be like, what do I see? I don't know if I see anything.
What's around the apple? Are you like, because I'm picturing just like a black wall.
I'm picturing just like a black like galaxy with like a floating apple.
Well, then that's what I'm seeing kind of
I
too.
can't even it's the concept of an apple.
You just see the word apple.
No, it's the.
You're just like
it's
thinking
God.
about apples.
Like it's there. You're like, or wind.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a
I feel you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you.
Have a great rest of your Wednesday or Thursday or whenever you're listening to this.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.